We're back with another Baker and Brown, this time at a very special location.
We're at the Palace Theater in historic downtown, so join us.
Hello, Kim Baker here with the Gallatin Chamber of Commerce.
I'm Paige Brown, Mayor of the City of Gallatin, and we welcome you to yet another edition of Baker & Brown. Thank you for being with us. We're so excited about where we are today.
This is one of my favorite spots, right in the heart of historic downtown Gallatin. Tell them a little more about it.
Well, this is the Palace Theater, and it is the oldest theater, oldest silent movie theater still standing in the state of Tennessee. A little bit on the history of it. This was actually owned by a family by the name of Roth, Bill Roth. Owned this theater and operated it from 1913 until 1977. His son then took it over for an additional year. It operated until 87, and then it was shuttered. After that, the Garrett family, and you know about the Garrett family if you've been watching our show, the Garrett family purchased this, and then a nonprofit organization was funded to restore and make operational again the Palace Theater. And so it reopened several years later with the Palace as the Palace Theater that we know and love. And it's actually undergone a second renovation since then. So right now it's run by a group called Greater Gallatin, which is part of our Downtown Historic Association. They're kind of the merchant association for downtown, but they were the ones that raised the funds, did the restoration, and still operate this facility today. And it's used for all kinds of events. You've used it a bunch.
I have. We actually had a birthday party here. I think when Hayden was maybe 8, we showed Ghostbusters on the big screen, and you can rent it out. And I guess in June it's going to start opening back up for concerts and other live events, small events, and also private parties.
And they do show films here on occasion, or have. They've had, like you said, concerts. You've used it for your startup program,
sure.
And other people have used it for corporate events. We have tours coming through here. A lot of times we'll use this as kind of our informational meeting place. So it's a great resource in downtown, and it's a beautiful facility with rich history. So we're excited to kind of be able to show it to you a little bit today.
When it opens back up, you'll have to stop in and see it for yourself and grab some popcorn while you're here.
And we do have a special guest coming up a little bit later, and you are going to be entertained by this guest, I assure you. But first, let's kick things off. Let's talk about the nice list. You got anything?
Well, it is still Memorial Week, Memorial Day week, and so I think, this week especially, we should definitely recognize those who have given the ultimate sacrifice.
And I think for me especially, it was a hard Memorial Day because we didn't have our events that we normally do to honor primarily the families of our fallen servicemen and women. And so while I say it was hard for us, I'm sure it was really hard for those Gold Star families, because that's their time of year where they get reminded that we care, we appreciate, we value, we value their loved ones' sacrifice, and it was not done in vain. And so I know that you all missed those events. We did. There were a few neat things that happened. That I actually was pulling into my parents' driveway, and this whole parade of 50 Jeeps went by, and they were all flying flags and had signs and honking their horn. And then actually a cousin of mine from Westmoreland and some other area pilots actually did a formation flyover. They flew from Lebanon to Gallatin to Mount Juliet and back to Lebanon with the old airplanes with the smoke, and a lot of people got to see them too, and that was their Memorial Day tribute. Also saw with one of our favorite trumpet players who always does our Wreaths Across America. He actually went to the veterans, the Memorial Veterans Park located at the County Administration Building, actually went there and played taps that day. So I'll put him on our nice list too. That was really, really special.
Yeah, and I'll add the Boy Scouts got out like they do most years,
and did the flags.
2 days. I know they were up and at them early, and on Friday and Saturday, and placed the wreaths.
Oh, the flags.
Flags. I'm sorry, not wreaths.
They do flags.
Yeah.
I said Wreaths Across America for you all. But yeah, so a lot of nice things happened in association with Memorial Day, and we recognize and appreciate those, and we just encourage everyone to remember that really every day needs to be a form of a Memorial Day, because we are free because of our servicemen and women. And certainly those who have fallen in the line of duty, our families, our hearts and prayers are with you always. And to those of you who have served or are serving, thank you. You're the reason we're free, and we value our freedom and appreciate it and celebrate it. So thank you. So great, nice list.
It is a good
So
I think it's the best one yet.
I do too. So what else have you had going on this past week?
Well, we've been helping businesses again, and we've gotten some exciting news from some of our businesses in the community. Some that we have seen have their doors closed for several months are opening back up. Osaka, we got word early June. They're going to be opening back up.
Excited, yes.
We're very excited.
It's our downtown sushi dig, so.
Super good. So we're excited to see them open back up. We also got word that Grants is planning an opening this week. So Grants is a new restaurant coming to the Kennesaw Farms area, as well as Dos Bros is planning a mid-June opening. So
we have some new restaurants coming to Gallatin. I know everybody's been looking for that. And
there's some others.
To see that.
There's some others that are in the works, and they're on track to still open within the next few weeks.
And I know that we made a really strong push to try and support people during all the shutdowns as much as you could. Well, now they're opening, and they will continue to accommodate you in whatever way you need to feel safe, whether it be curbside pickup or online orders or to-go orders in restaurants. They will do that for you still, but let's really make an effort to support those businesses in our community that didn't have the advantages that some of the big box stores did that were open throughout. We're very appreciative of them too, but they did not, they were open throughout and probably enjoyed increased sales where we had so many who did not. And so now's the time to really rally and support those and help them kind of recover too. On the virus front, which I still need to speak about with everyone, we are continuing to track it, of course, in our community and in our state and in our nation. I keep getting asked about, where are the daily updates? And I keep saying they're it feels very, very repetitive, and unless you're tracking it day to day, it's probably meaningless. I don't have a lot of new information, but there are some really good resources if you want to keep up with the numbers. The Tennessee.gov, TN.gov, they have a coronavirus page where you can actually see the number of cases by county, the number of deaths, the number of those recovered, which has become my new favorite number. And so you can track that there. City of Gallatin actually has a coronavirus page on our website. Our website is gallatintn.gov, and the Chamber has a COVID-19 dashboard as well. Some of my national sites that I like, coronavirus.gov, the Johns Hopkins site. The New York Times, this one I just learned of in the last couple of weeks, New York Times has a really good site where they're tracking data across the world. So those are resources where you can kind of stay up to date. I am pleased that we are reopening. Our local health department director, Hal Hendricks, he's like, we had Easter, he was all worried about 2 weeks after Easter. We had Mother's Day, he was all worried about 2 weeks after Mother's Day. Now it's Memorial Day, he's all worried about two weeks after Memorial Day. Hopefully, hopefully the virus is, as they say, is losing vectors. And even though we are open and we are out and we are about, people are taking more precautions than they were when we didn't know this virus was among us. And we will still be able to keep that spread at bay. We'll see. Time's going to tell that. But we've been open now for a good month here in Gallatin, pretty open. So our spread has not gone up. It's really continued to go down. Of course, again, we're looking for those zero number days. We've had mostly single-digit increases day to day. There have been a few days where we've done some more mass concentrated testing, like in a facility or something, and we've had them. I think our highest day was 21, and our lowest was, and I think our lowest has been 1 today, but we had maybe a 19, a 21, maybe a 13. So we don't like to see those double-digit increases. We like the single-digit increases, but we're wanting those zero increases, and we want that zero to become the norm. And we do not want a resurgence. We don't want to go through this again, right, Kim?
Nope, I don't know.
Nobody does. Yeah, nobody does. But hopefully, we've all done the right things. I think we'll learn more as time goes by, as people who are way smarter than I am start breaking it down and figure out what made a difference and what did not. And I still say we're getting through this. We're getting closer to being through this, and this community is going to be better and stronger. And Gallatin, I do believe, is well poised to recover faster and be stronger than a lot of other communities, just because of what we have, just because of our makeup, our jobs that are here, and our community makeup. It's just kind of the structure of our community. It's not that we've done anything necessarily better, but as far as the virus goes. So we're going to be okay.
I think, to finish that, remind people to still be nice. Just be nice
Absolutely.
to each other, especially each other and the community, and then the businesses too, and do what you feel you need to do to protect yourself during this time.
And we haven't talked about this, but that is the culture of Gallatin. And as we grow and we get more and more people here, the thing that's going to set us apart from other communities is that culture of kindness, where we are welcoming and we are warm and we are friendly, and we take those extra steps to help people feel like they belong here. And I think we will continue to do that. I love it when people move here from other places and they're so impressed with kind of the personality that we have, and they strive to be more like us.
Mm-hmm.
And so I hope that if there's any new folks watching, not saying you have to be like us, but we sure do hope that you'll perpetuate that spirit of kindness that we believe is very, very alive here in our city. That's certainly, that's certainly a positive endeavor for all of us.
Absolutely.
So with that, well, we're going to come back in just a minute with our special guest. You'll want to hear from him, I promise.
All right, we're back with our very special guest today and a good friend of ours, Jerry Lumpkins, local historian. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Well, and last week we actually showed one of this man's books is my featured book of the week, and he's brought that one and another one. He is compiling newspaper articles, as I explained last week, by the decade. And we showed you the second decade last week, but you've done first and second, and you have third, fourth, fifth, sixth, many, many, many more to go. Tell me what got you interested in doing this project.
Well, there's a business called newspaper.com, and what's so amazing, they have over 532 million sheets of paper which belong into newspapers. And I just put in my name, Jerry Lumpkins, and it told me things, from way back. It went to, when I coached in college, it gave some high school, when I coached at Gallatin High School, and some odds and ends like that. But then I just started adding names. I put the word Gallatin. And if our fans didn't understand that, Gallatin is just not Gallatin, Tennessee. We have more states that have Gallatin, and there's even Gallatin
Missouri,
counties.
Montana, Kentucky has a county. Yeah.
So I have to specify to Tennessee. But that's exactly where these articles came out. This is not necessarily my historical back knowledge from these items, but let me just kind of show you. It goes, and it starts in 1802, and I wanted to do about 250 pages, and to not make it real thick and just kind of make it educational for people to go through there. And I put them as they have appeared in the newspapers. But the hardest part of this is in the back where you look up the people's names. Mm-hmm. Oh, Lord. That took hours.
To do the index.
Yes, yes.
And just as someone who has lots of Gallatin books, that index means more to me than you can imagine, because then it actually does become a really, really good reference book.
Right.
And so I appreciate you doing that, because I bet that was a nightmare. But you have Volume 1 and Volume 2, and like I said, many more to go. He actually brought some really nice poster boards to show, to give you an idea of some of the things that are in this book. So if you want to talk through these, this one's really appropriate because we're sitting in the Palace Theater, but that wasn't the only theater in Gallatin at one time.
Yes, it was. Competition falls in every city, every town, every community, everywhere. And we had one Palace Theater here, and they thought, he is so successful, let's put another theater in. And this was on the south side of our square, and if y'all could see this picture better, it's called the Roxy Theater. And it's probably not exactly where our library is sitting now. If you were facing the front door at the library, it's to the right. And it was amazing that people started going, well, why should we go over there instead of staying with our friends here at the Palace Theater? They even started a talent show before the movies. Let's pretend movies came on at 1 at 3 o'clock, 1 at 5 o'clock, or whatever. They had started having people come in, and I don't know this for 100%. I heard Elvis Presley came through Gallatin and played over there, and it wasn't a talent where they give everybody first place or second place. It's just to get people in before the movies. But that's amazing. And there was so much competition as a business between the Palace Theater and the Roxy. And I don't know why, but somehow the See, theater caught on fire.
Okay, and then this one. This is a famous person.
Oh, yes.
This is her grave marker, correct?
Yes, it is. For the people that have not visited our Gallatin City Cemetery,
You're missing a treat.
it is absolutely unbelievable. Even if you don't know the names, you pick one of these, go to the table of contents.
Learn all about them.
You might find those. But this is the young lady that our 6th Tennessee governor came to be in Gallatin to hang out with. Y'all ever heard of Andrew Jackson?
He's familiar.
Came to our
He
city.
was a lawyer up on a square, but there was a lot of horse races here. We were probably one of the top ones in the North America to have horse races. And Governor Houston would come to town, and he actually met one of our girls. And
Married her.
yeah, and she was maybe 19 years old, and he was in his late 20s, early 30s. To make a long story short, the father told the little girl, if he asked, yes, you will marry him. The governor of Tennessee. So they did get married out here where our TVA buildings are still standing. And if you go through the history, they were only married for 11 weeks. And that's the sad thing, because 11 weeks, it was over. To our knowledge from history, Governor Sam Houston quit being governor of Tennessee. He slipped out of here. I don't know if it was a wagon train or what. He was dressed as a non-male, if I could use that term, but he covered up just to hide. He signed out and he slipped and lived with the Indians before he moved to Texas and became the governor of Texas. It's amazing. But again, yes, she is in our Gallatin City Cemetery.
And the stories that surround their split are kind of juicy too. We won't get into all of those. Okay, what's this, Mr. Lumpkins?
This is one of the most amazing pictures that I go to the Rotary Club or the Lions Club or the Kiwanis. They have no clue where this facility is. In Gallatin, it's called Lock 4 Road. You go to the very, very end of the Lock 4 Road, and our Chamber of Commerce has had some parties and had all kinds of performances out there.
Fire on the water.
That's it. If you were in a boat and you could take your paddle and you could reach down, that water's about 5 feet deep, 5 to 6 feet, right off the edge of the water, and then all of a sudden it goes to about 30 feet. If you'll look at this, that was going to be a boat dock where they could stop and unload the boats.
Like Cairo once was.
Cairo was it's amazing. We could have had Cairo as our town seat of Sumner County, Cairo High School, and could have been downtown Cairo.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Now, I think this is one of the most fascinating pieces of Gallatin history. This man, I don't know if you've seen this picture before or not, but he and his goats. I mean, it's such a sad story, but it's so fascinating. He was actually
at one part of the world, he was what?
Bud Rogan.
What was his title?
What was he known for?
Tallest man.
Tallest human on Earth. Now, if you
Does
look
he still hold that?
No. I was going to say, if you look him up, you will find his name was actually John Williams Rogan, but they called him Bud. He started growing at about 13 years old, and what happened, his bones grew so fast that his muscles and his body did not grow it, and there's a name for it. But when he passed away, about 1912, 1913, he was the world's tallest human being, and he's 8 foot 8 inches tall. Now, if us three stand next to him, I mean, his waist is probably about right here.
I know.
And I don't mean this as a negative, but if they buried him in a casket, oh Lord.
The whole thing have to do, right?
Yes. But now, I don't want people to know this, so I won't go a long time on it. Mama was going to give him to the physician that took care of him so she could study why his hands were so big and why his arms and legs were so long. Then Mama decided, no, I don't think we're going that route because there's too many circuses in America that would pay 10 cents to come see this arm, this hand.
They want him exploited.
mama buried the body under her front porch.
And that still exists here in Gallatin.
It still exists.
But-
Can't tell you where, but
But this story, I mean, it's so interesting, but it's so sad to me because he really had no quality of life. He absolutely could not get around and stuff as he got older. And so that just always makes me so sad. But it is a great story and it's part of our heritage. This is another Rogan.
that is the gentleman.
Briefly.
If you've ever heard of the community called Rogana, he was given a military service land grant. It actually was right next to Vanderbilt University. It's the big park down there. And he swapped that park, which is probably about $1,000 an inch if you wanted to buy a part of it like that. But he swapped it for probably a square mile. That'd be 620 acres. And our community called Rogana. It was named after him. This gentleman came over from Ireland, and these were people that worked for him. They may have been considered slaves, but they were so well accepted by Hugh Rogan. Mr. Hogan is still buried here in Sumner County.
And he has many, many descendants
Oh,
in our community.
Lord, yes. The name Rogan is everywhere.
It means a lot. And then finally, and this is just a glimpse of some of the things that you'll see in these books. This is
The Gallatin Hotel.
right here on the square.
Everybody was, you know, when you come into Gallatin, you either stay with the Trousdales, you stay out at Rosemont, you stay, you know, with the mayor, stay with the Chamber of Commerce, but, you know, places. But there was more of these hotels around. And I've even got situations where there was veterans from the American Revolution that were just about to pass away. And they were so far out of town to see the doctors and back and forth, they stayed in some of these motels and they passed away.
Oh, wow.
If you know what Derryberry's is, that's probably one of the most famous hotels that was sitting right down here on our creek.
But you don't know that it was this one, right?
You have to buy the book.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a perfect segue. So these books, they are available. How do people acquire them?
Okay. I'm not, I don't have them listed on Facebook. Sometimes Memories of Gallatin is my favorite.
Which is a great Facebook group if you're not familiar with it. There's so much information. I've learned so much about our community in that Facebook group.
This one even, I have a big story of the meteorite that struck right next to Beach High School. And the pastor was out with, they were working his garden and they saw it come down. But to make a long story short, they sold one clump of that meteorite just to buy a wood furnace for the church that's still standing next to Beach High School. That's a Presbyterian church.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking
Beautiful
about. I've
church.
never heard that one, so that's a new one for me. So.
Well, if you will come visit me or I'll come back.
I know.
I have 2 parts to that meteorite at the house.
Oh, my goodness.
So where can they get the books?
I'm on Facebook. I'm on Memories of Gallatin. I could set some off at these 2 young ladies' offices, but this book number 1, it's amazing. It's now on its 4th print.
Wow.
We have gone past 150 sales. I speak to some of the civic clubs around Gallatin, and I'm not knowing what's selling there. I still have these in my car, but I can leave a few of these with our young ladies right there.
And they're a bargain. How much are they?
I have them listed for $30 purchase price, but if you will come see our mayor, if you'll come to our Chamber of Commerce, they will give you a discount of $5 and you can have them for $25.
All right.
And if you want them signed,
And get your autograph?
Look him up. It's Jerry Lumpkins, Lumpkins,
correct.
on Facebook because he's there and he's active. Again, that Memories of Gallatin and his people is a great site. Now, each week that Kim and I do this, I always have a featured book. And you've not been watching because you didn't know that your book was our featured book just last week. But I brought another one today, and I bet you know something about this. I actually love to cook, and I collect old cookbooks, mostly World War II era cookbooks, but also some others. And this one is a book called Granny Happy's Cookbook, and it was a benefit for Cragfont. And it was put together, and Granny Happy was a lady that's near and dear, or should be near and dear to all of our hearts, because she really worked to preserve a lot of what is our community. And that's Miss Ellen Weems. And so in this, and she was the matriarch of Fairview. And so in this book are are her recipes. And there's some from her mother and her family and then some of her friends. And I just love this cookbook. And I've actually, if you've seen the census cards that we're doing this year, we have recipes on them. And one of them has her mother's chest pie on it. So,
Is that your favorite in the book?
Oh, no, probably not. I like chest pie a lot, but there's some other really good recipes in here. Some of the breads and stuff, oh my. But great cookbook. I actually have several of these because I set up a Google alert years ago on eBay for Granny Happy's cookbook, and every time one came up, I would buy it. But they're still out there, and you can still grab them. And I've suggested that they maybe they have.
I think
maybe they have.
They have them when you go to Trek Font.
They've republished it. They've republished it. So I don't know what year this was 1975. So that was done then. But tell just a little bit about Miss Weems, because I bet you know more about her. I remember when I was growing up, but
I remember her too. She was so fabulous. And she would not be the type of person that you would see other than wearing a dress, jewelry. She was dressed to the top with everything. And she was fantastic. And where she lived was absolutely wonderful. It's amazing what's out there. And that's between here and Gallatin. It's actually in the community called, I don't know if they're quite called Number One, but that's right down the hill from.
Right next to Number One. But, of course, it's the centerpiece of what they now call Tennessee Grasslands, I guess.
Yes.
And it was the old plantation home.
Yes.
My favorite, one of the best experiences I've ever had, and probably my favorite memory with her, although my memories go back to when I was a very little girl and she would let us come over there and play, was when I was in my 20s. I came back to Gallatin to visit, and Walter Thigpen, who was a librarian at Volunteer State Community College, asked me if I would do an interview with Miss Weems. And so we sat down and actually videotaped an interview with Miss Weems for a good long period of time. I'd say hour and a half, 2 hours maybe. But at that time she was probably 100. I think she lived to be 106. But he is a wealth of knowledge about our community. I know bits and pieces, as does Kim. But this cookbook is awesome. So you can still get it, the newer version, to benefit Cragfont, which is located out in Castaigne Springs, the home of the Winchesters.
Yes.
And another fabulous home. If you've not checked it out, you absolutely need to. But we so appreciate you being with us today.
Sure.
Thank you for joining us.
These books will be in these ladies' offices, and your discount because you're watching us on TV.
Oh, thank you. Well, you'll have to come back. Kim, anything else before we say goodbye today, you think?
I think that's about it. You can find the books at the Chamber of Commerce or the City of Gallatin in the Mayor's office now.
That's true.
Yeah.
Jerry, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure. And thank you guys for joining us. We enjoy doing this. We hope that you're enjoying watching and you learn some things along with us each week. Remember to send us your ideas, drop in the comments, any guests you'd like to see on the show, any nice list nominations you may have, or anything else that you'd like to share with us, because this is all about getting more information to our community in a slightly different way. But we love you for caring about our community. We look forward to seeing you again. Hope you have a good rest of the week, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.